Thanks, Mike. I appreciate it. It's great to be here.
Well, we were obviously a little surprised when your name came across the ticker as the next head coach. And at what point did this process start for you where this was a realistic, decision that you had to make? You were there at North Dakota for 11 years, very successful. I'm sure there was a lot of things going through your mind. When did you say this was the right decision for me to leave North Dakota and come to Philadelphia?
Well, I think we came to that decision a couple of days ago, and obviously it's a process that you go through. I was certainly excited to get a phone call from Ron a couple weeks back, and since that point in time, we've spent quite a bit of time together, both in person as well as on the phone. And it's been a great process. It's been a pretty relaxed process, and one where I think we've had a chance to get to understand each other pretty well.
Now, you had some relationships with Ron Hextall in the past, but did it surprise you when he reached out to say, Coach, would you be interested in my head coaching vacancy?
Well, I think it was a call that I was happy to receive from Ron. You never go into a day expecting that type of a phone call. But I was appreciative of the call, and as soon as Ron did call, it was something that obviously was for a lot of pretty obvious reasons was very interesting.
Coach, what was appealing about the Flyers? What was it about the Philadelphia Flyers organization that made you make what probably was a tough decision? What stood out about this opportunity?
Well, I think as I said, as we worked through over the last couple of weeks, I think one is the people, the opportunity to work within this organization, to work for Ron and the rest of the people here in the Philadelphia Flyers organization. That stands out as a real key component. I think the excitement of this group and the future of this group. That's very important, and something that was very important to me. And not to bypass the history and tradition of this franchise. The things that Mr. Snyder has been able to do with this franchise over the long haul. It's very exciting, and it's a great opportunity for me and for my family to become part of the Flyers organization.
New Flyers coach Dave Hakstol is our guest here on 97.3 ESPN. What was the process in your mind to leave North Dakota? How hard was that? Because, 11 seasons there, and, I'm sure your goal was to win a national championship. You were close many times. You never got there. But was that something that you had to weigh, or was this just an easy decision?
No, it's not an easy decision to leave someplace that you love and someplace that you believe in, in terms of what you're doing there. And that's the case at North Dakota with, the history that I have with the program there as a player, in being part of that program. Not an easy decision to leave. And I think probably what stands out most is that as I went through the last couple of weeks here, this became the right decision. So I think that tells you how strongly I feel about joining the Flyers organization. This is the right choice and the right decision, and I'm fortunate to have the opportunity here.
Coach, what concerns might you have going from the college game to the pro game? That was really brought up a lot today. It hasn't happened, I think, since 1982. It doesn't happen very often in your game for whatever reason. Do you have some legitimate concerns about making that adjustment? And if you do, what are some of the things that you believe that you're going to need to work on immediately?
Well, immediately, if you want to look at things that have to happen, it's communication. I'll start trying to communicate and get to know some of the players after a few days here. That's one of the immediate tasks at hand. But really, I think it's a matter for me of not changing my philosophies and the way I do things. It has to translate and it has to evolve to an NHL level and an NHL schedule rather than the college schedule. I think that's something that I'm fully aware of. and that's something that'll be part of the plan as we go through the summer months here. I think those are some of the challenges. Obviously, everything comes at a higher level, and I'm ready and prepared and excited to handle those things.
Coach, why do you think, if you have a reason, that the college coaches have not made that jump? I mean, you're starting to see it more, especially in the NFL, where it seems that the college game is now morphing into the Sunday game. You see a lot more teams running spreads and bubble screens and things that you see in Saturday. Do you think that you're going to start a trend of seeing more college coaches get the opportunity?
Well, I guess I haven't thought a whole lot about that. I know right now there is not a trend, and that's probably one of the reasons why not more people have done it. It's a little bit outside of the box, but in terms of how the college game translates, I've heard a lot of discussion on that today. Maybe that North Dakota plays an NHL style game. We play the way we play. I think it's a style that can translate to success at the NHL level, but ultimately, when you look at the NHL game today, the speed of the game, the transition of the game, how little time and space there is available, it's a great game, and I think the mentalities that I believe in can be successful at this level.
Now, a lot of people would look at the Flyers roster and wonder, was this an appealing roster for your style, the stuff that you like to do? Do they have personnel that excites you about what you implement in your game?
Well, I think when you look at the core of this group, it's an amazing group in terms of talent, in terms of the type of people and competitors that there are. I think when you look at this group and you move towards the future and continue to grow and develop, I think this core group can have a lot of success.
Coach, obviously, this is a team that has, as you mentioned, a lot of history and has had a lot of fan support, very much support from the ownership as well. And yet they went outside the box and a little off the radar here. Does this kind of suggest to you that this is a long-term thing and that there's not a pressure to win immediately, maybe as if there was a more experienced guy in here? Or do you think that, hey, I was brought in here to we didn't make the playoffs, they want me to win now?
Well, I think I think there's a plan in place here, and that's one of the things that I absolutely believe in. I think there is a plan in place from the top of the organization on through. I come in with my eyes pretty wide open. I know what the expectations are at this level, and winning hockey games is our number one goal. So we've got to go to work. We've got to do a great job having a good and detailed plan. And our goal as we play game number one next year is to win hockey games.
A lot of people, as you mentioned, the college game, shorter season, and the guys aren't getting paid. Here they are. Mm-hmm. Is that something that you anticipate there being a transition in terms of the way that these guys will react to the way that you talk to them? Do you think you're going to have to change that at all? Or is it, hey, this is me. If you don't like it, there's another place you can play?
Well, a couple of things. Number one, I think the routine that I have and that I feel is successful. I feel exactly that. It's a successful routine. I need to translate it from a 45-game college schedule to the NHL schedule. That's number one. Secondly, in terms of the players, it's the mentality of a dictatorship. There's expectations, but this is going to take a lot of good communication. This is going to have very clearly defined expectations and roles for everybody. And that's why I said right off the top, I think one of the most important things that has to happen here early on is some good communication, not with just players, but also with staff members here.
New Flyers head coach Dave Hakstol is with us here. Coach, I know maybe you haven't had a chance to see or watch or learn everything about your new roster and your organization, but are there players in the Flyers organization that you do have familiarity with, guys that you've seen, coached against, or that very well?
Well, I think there's guys that the entire hockey world is pretty familiar with, but I think for me it's way too early in the process to start commenting on any individual player, in that way. I know the roster. I've had a chance to watch this group play. Certainly, there's some of the top players in the world on this roster, and there are a lot of good people throughout the depth of this roster. So that's as far as I want to go at this point in time. My summer is going to be spent in a lot of ways, but one of the key ways will be, in looking at our group.
Well, I'll ask you this for the listeners out there who don't know much about you. Can you kind of describe to them what kind of style they can anticipate seeing from the orange and black on the ice?
Well, I think I'd sum it up just in saying that we'll be, a team that plays honest and a team that plays hard. And I mentioned it a few minutes ago again. The game is played at such a high pace now. There is such an element of speed to the game that there has to be a big part of your game has to be a transition game. Your defensemen have to be involved in that transition game, getting up ice as well as in the offensive zone. And those are things that are going to be critical elements. After you work hard to get the puck back, what do you do with it?
Well, I would ask you this. I mean, at North Dakota, you had a lot of success there. I can't imagine that the amount of press coverage topped what you saw today already.
That's going to be one of the things I have to grow into. It's something that you grow to a certain comfort level with, and certainly the scrutiny that we have at the University of North Dakota is quite high in our community, in our state, and in the world of college hockey. But now this takes it to a different level. So that's an area that that I will grow into, and that I'll need to grow into. I'm comfortable with that.
Well, Coach, we do appreciate a couple minutes of your time. We know it's probably a busy day, a whirlwind day. I'll leave you with asking this. At what point, Hextall had said today, that he had checked all the boxes. He talked to you for multiple days. When did this process start? When was this a reality for you that he called me, we talked, and I might be the next head coach of the Philadelphia Flyers? Was this something that happened a little while ago, or is this just, hey, one day, boom, and was it a fast process, or was this something that kind of evolved over a couple of weeks?
Well, for the change that this is for our family, it's a pretty quick process. But no, it's something that evolved over time and over discussions. And sometimes you do all your due diligence, you do all your homework, and then it comes down to a real gut feel. And for me, that's the way this decision was made.
Well, Coach, we thank you for your time, and obviously good luck with everything, and congratulations on being appointed the 19th head coach in Philadelphia Flyers history.
Thanks for your time, Mike. Appreciate you having me on.